As stated before, basically, the modes of transport for delivery of goods have been classified into three categories, namely water transport, land transport, and air transport. In the last two lectures, we have discussed some main issues about the mode of water that is based on ocean transport. Today, let's go on with more modes. The land transport sector covers a wide range of activities which often have little in common. Road transport exists in all parts of the world. This involves the use of motor vehicles, cars, lorries, buses, bicycles, trucks, and animals. Animals are really an essential part in the history of the Silk Road. They played an irreplaceable role in the Silk Road transportation. Compared with other modes of transportation, the road transport is more flexible. No specialized machinery or technique is necessary for its use, so that all countries, no matter how backward, possess them in some form. Road transport carries more goods within localities because they are normally constructed to connect towns and villages where rail, air, and water transports are absent. Thus, it acts as a feeder service to railway, shipping, and air traffic. It offers directness and makes door-to-door communication possible. Railway transport plays a crucial role in the promotion of trade and industry in the world. It is capable of attaining relatively high speeds with large quantities and is safe, at low cost, punctual, rather economical, and less influenced by weather. Trains carry consignments of different nature, ranging from fruits and fish to coal and steel to different parts of the world. However, railways have fixed routes. This mode of transport, therefore, lacks flexibility. Pipeline transport is a system of transportation. It involves the use of hollow pipes in the transportation of water, crude oil, petroleum, and gas. This mode of transportation is safer than using tankers or trailers in the transportation of these liquids. Rising fuel costs makes pipelines an attractive economic alternative to other forms of transport in certain circumstances. Some types of land transport are highly capital intensive, such as rail and pipeline transport, whereas others require relatively little investment, like truck transport. Some employing large numbers of people, such as rail and truck transport, where a single company may employ as many as several 100,000 people. Whereas in other cases, labor costs are of only marginal importance, like pipeline transport. In order to choose a suitable transportation mode, the product costs and the delivery speeds must be considered. Air transport is one of the ways to move goods that have been very common in recent years when it comes to speed and distribution protection. The advantages of air transport are high speed and quick transit, low risk of damage and pilferage with very competitive insurance, saving in packing cost, reducing amount of capital tied up in transit, etc. Thus, it can offer convenient, reliable, and fast services of transport. While the chief disadvantage is the limited capacity of air freight and the overall dimensions of acceptable cargo together with the weight restrictions. It is also subject to the influence of weather. However, it is suitable those goods that are of time-pressing, small quantity of cargoes but urgent need, light but precious. So, air is the quickest transport mode and therefore ideal for long-distance transport of goods. it takes less time. Each mode has its advantages and disadvantages. For its role in the logistic chain, the selection of the right transportation mode is very critical to the business and the logistic management. Depending on the destination, goods consigned to a foreign market can be transported by road, rail, air, sea, inland, waterways, or a combination of any of these. The movements of freight from an origin to a destination using two or more different modes of successive transportation with a single rate under only one transport contract is called combined transport or multiple modal transport. Intermodalism originated in maritime transportation with the development of the container in the late 1960s, and has since spread to integrate other modes. In the practice of international trade, some types of multimodal transport are commonly referred to as piggyback, fishback, and birdie bag. Piggyback involves the use of rail and truck where cargo is transferred from any one of the two to another. Fishback is the combination of ship to truck transportation. Birdie bag is where goods are shifted from air to truck or from truck to air. Land bridge is a term commonly used in the intermodal freight transport sector in reference to a containerized ocean freight shipment that travels across a large body of land for a significant part of the trip, en route to its final destination, of which the land portion of the trip is referred to as the land bridge, and the mode of transport used is rail transport. For instance, the new Eurasia Land Bridge is an international passageway linking the Pacific and the Atlantic. As mentioned before, it is one of the 6 major corridors envisioned by China's BNR. It's also referred to as a branch of the China-Central Asia-Western Asia corridor, or as part of the new Silk Road economic belt. The major advantage of land bridge is the speed of shipment, based on the fact that the traffic by land or air is generally faster than by sea, and that the nearest distance between the 2 points is a straight line. The land bridge is useful for cargo sensitive to time and cost. While intermodalism could take place without the container, it would be very inefficient and costly. Container, as an effective intermediate, has become more and more popular. The use of the container provides a highly efficient form for transport by ship, by road, by rail, and by air. International shipments of goods, especially in the maritime sector, are mainly based on container transport. Thanks to the work of the ISO that in 1961 set standard sizes for all containers. Containers are made in standard sizes and can be transported efficiently over long distances and transferred from one means of transport without being opened. This would simplify the whole logistical process. Standardized containers have transformed the shipping and transport industry, and this standardization would eventually apply across the global industry. The 2 most important and most commonly used sizes even today are 20-foot and 40-foot lengths. The 20-foot container, referred to as a 20-foot equivalent unit, TEU, became the industry standard reference with cargo volume and vessel capacity, now measured in TEUs. The 40-foot length container, literally 2 TEUs, became known as the 40-foot equivalent unit, FEU, and is the most frequently used container today. The classic container has a solid side surface and a rear closure with two easily sealable leaves. For particular uses, such as the transport of liquids or food products, refrigerated containers, tanks, open tops, and containers with openable side walls are used. According to how many are the final recipients, the shipments by container are classified into FCL, full container load, and LCL, less than container load. FCL is when the goods must be received by a single recipient, regardless of whether the maximum weight or maximum volume has been reached or not. This type of shipment is usually preferred by those who have large quantities of goods to be sent for a single receiver to the container yard, CY, or the named place of delivery. LCL means partial load container, when the shipment takes place with the non-exclusive use of the container. In this case, the rental can be organized so as to provide for multiple recipients. If the goods to be shipped are not enough to fill the standard container, the load is grouped with other loads for the same destination in a container freight station, CFS. Container service has undoubtedly been the driver of international combined transportation. Containers could be moved seamlessly between ships, trucks, and trains, which permits easy handling between the model system and brings enormous benefits to international trade in terms of reducing transport costs, damage to goods, and theft. As we discussed today, an effective use of transportation equipment and modes reduces shipping and logistics costs considerably. Understanding the advantages and disadvantages of each transportation mode will help to make an appropriate choice for the transit of goods. That's all for the modes of international cargo transportation. See you soon.